Hi, second grade. It's so good to see you. I know we've been spending a lot of time doing measurement lately, and we're not going to go entirely away from that this week, but we are going to be using our measurement for a little different purpose. Let's go ahead and take a peek at our learning target and find out what we're going to be doing this week together. I can create a line plot using a number line. Holy guacamole. Did you hear a word in there or a couple words that maybe weren't familiar to you? I know I did. When I was reading this learning target with you guys, I was thinking to myself, I know what it means to create. That means to make. But I don't know what this phrase line plot means. It says using a number line. Now, I know a number line, right? You know a number line. We've been using number lines all year long. But this idea of a line plot, that was something new to me. So I had to do some researching before I could learn with you. And I wanted to tell you a little bit more about this line plot. And then we're actually going to make one together today. You'll spend the rest of the week making some with a little less of my support. But for today, we're going to make one together. And we're just going to do it twice and see how we can get really good at it so that we can make them on our own later this week. A line plot is a way of organizing information, and a lot of times it's organizing measurements and objects that might be a certain length. For example, we look at these sea lions going to the zoo, and there's all these sea lions, and they're all different sizes. This one's 52 inches. This one is 49. And friends, I'll tell you that you do not need a ruler today, but if you want to look at these same sea lions, I'm actually using something in our book. It's the book that looks like this on the front, okay? We call this our numbers book in my classroom, and it's one that has a very shiny, smooth cover. And on the inside, on page 202, you're going to find those same sea lions, okay? I just put those same sea lions up on my chart today. So if you want to look at those up close, you're welcome to do that. Okay, so I'm just looking at that page to help me a little bit more today. So we have a bunch of sea lions. One's 52 inches long. One's 49 inches long. One's 50 inches long. And you'll see why I'm using some different colors here in just a second. One's 52. Another one's 52. One's 48. And one is 49. Now, what do you know about those sea lions? What can you notice so far? Okay, they're measured in inches. That's a really great noticing. Okay, so they're not centimeters, they are inches. That's something very important to hold on to. What else do you notice? Yeah, there are actually a couple that are 52 inches long. What else do you notice? There's a couple that are 49. Absolutely. And then there's a 48 and a 50 in there. So there are some that are similar lengths, some that are exactly the same length, and some that are a length that no other sea lion is that length. So we're going to make one of these together, and there's a couple things that I want you to pay attention to. First thing is that it says we're going to create this line plot using a number line. What is a number line? Yeah, it's a line of numbers. And we use that number line to what? To add. Absolutely. Now a number line has no end, so it has an arrow on this side and an arrow on this side. Some of our number lines have lots of numbers. Some of them don't. Okay? So I want you to pay close attention to what I'm putting on our number line or on our line plot for this task. My first number is going to be a 48. Why do you think I did a 48? What does that have to do with our data or our information up here? Ah, yes. Whether you're looking at your sea lions in your workbook or you're looking at the sea lions up here, 48 is our smallest sea lion. It's our shortest sea lion. And so 48 is the first number I'm including on my number line or on my line plot. Okay? I'm going to do something else. I'm going to put the number 52 there. Why do you think I'm putting a 52 on that end? Yes, we're going to put 52 there because there's no sea lion longer than 52. 52 is the biggest number that we have up here. How is that similar and different so far to a number line that you've seen before? Right. Our smaller number is on this side. Our bigger number is on this side. Now pay close attention to what I end up doing here. Now, one thing I have to do is my numbers have to be, oops, I put the wrong number there. My numbers have to be equally spaced. So what I learned to do as I was practicing these line plots is I divided my line in half, and then I did my next numbers in between those. So I'm going to put 49 here, 48, 49, 50. And then I'm going to put 51 here and 52 here. Okay? Now what do you notice about this line plot or this number line that I've drawn? All right, so there's no skipping any numbers, right? Absolutely. In fact, let me make this a little bit easier to see, okay? Miss Baker is really persnickety. My kids in my classroom make sure that I don't make any mistakes. If I do, I have to use my oopsie tape. So I'll oopsie tape this too. I'm not skipping any numbers, right? So all my numbers are in order: 48, 49, 50, 51, 52. You're right. On a number line, normally I would skip a bunch. I'd maybe even skip 10 or 100, depending on what number I'm jumping to. But in this case, I'm not skipping any numbers, okay? Now, something else I want you guys to pay close attention to is that even though it is similar to a number line, on a number line, I make hops, right? Well, this is a tool that's very similar to a graph that we've used to collect data before. Maybe we've used a table or a group of pictures of something to help us collect some data. Well, I'm collecting data here too. And so instead of making jumps, I'm actually going to use little X's to show what information I have. For example, I see a 52-inch long sea lion right here, and it's in my blue. So I'm actually going to put a blue X above my 52 because that needs to be represented here. In fact, I think I forgot a step, okay? These numbers down here, just like on our graph, we have to label the parts of our graph. In this instance, we have to label the parts of our line plot as well. So these numbers down here, the 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, these are representing the length in inches, not in centimeters, in inches. So I'm actually going to label that inches. And I'm actually going to give my line plot a title. Well, these are my sea lions, right? So I'm going to label it Sea Lion Measurements because that's exactly what I'm doing. These are the measurements of these sea lions. So that's the title of my line plot, Sea Lion Measurements. And the measurements are the length of it, and they're measured in inches. So, like I told you, I got my 52-inch one, this guy right here, so I put an X right here. Well, then I'm going to get my orange. And my orange one is how long? It's 49. So where am I going to put my X for my orange one? Exactly. And I'm going to make sure my X is about the same size as and about the same spot as my blue X here. Now, normally my X's would be black, but I wanted to really point out what these X's represent from our data. So today I'm using a color to help us see that in our first example, so we really can make that connection, okay? So we have our 49-inch sea lion right there. Then I have my light green. And how long is my light green? Help me out, guys. How long is it? It's 50. So where am I going to put that X? Exactly. I'm going to put that X above my 50. Very good. How about my 50? How about this guy right here, my red? It's another 52. So here's what I want you to pay close attention to. I'm actually going to do another X above this 52. So I have my blue one that's 52 inches, and now I have my red one that's 52 inches. And I'm putting that right on top of it. And look at the next one. It's also 52 inches. So I'm gonna put my dark green X up there. See where that is right there? I'm putting that X to represent that sea lion at the bottom of my line plot. Then I have my 48 incher, right? And so I'm gonna come over to my number 48. And my last one, how long is that little guy? He's 49, so just like I did with my 52, I'm gonna put my X above my orange one that's already there because I actually have two that are 49 inches. What else do you notice about my data when we look at this? Yes, the majority of mine are 52 inches. I have 3 sea lions that are 52 inches long. So these X's, they represent the sea lions in this case. Usually they're going to represent any piece of your data. So that X represents the information or the data that you're collecting, okay? The numbers below represent the length or the number of something that's that length. Depending on what your data is collecting, this might be something different down here. In this case, it's our length in inches because we're measuring how long those sea lions are. My title tells me what I'm going to be looking at. What else I notice about this information using this line plot? What else can you tell me about looking at this data? Only 2 were 48 or 50 inches long. So I only had one X that was 48 and one that was 50. So I only had, they were all by themselves, weren't they? None of them were 51 inches long. Now, even though none of them were 51 inches long, I still need to include that point on my line plot. I'm not going to skip any numbers between my smallest and my biggest on my line plot. We're going to keep every number in between. If we don't have any data for that, then we know that there's 0 that represent that. Are we ready to move on to our next piece of information? Okay. Now remember, a line plot is a way to organize a set of measurements, okay? We're organizing our set by drawing a line, doing our smallest and our longest, and using X's to represent the information that we are collecting. We're going to do the same thing down here. How's everybody feel about our line plot so far? Good. Ready for the next one? Now, I've shown my data in a little different way, and I did that on purpose. This is a table. This table is going to help us collect some information as well. What do you notice about this information? Yes, we have crayons. Yes, we most certainly do. We have crayon A, crayon B, crayon C, and crayon D. What else are we seeing about this information? It's the length of the crayons that we are measuring, okay? So then if I'm going to give a title to my line plot, what could my title be? Sure, it can be crayon measurements, just like our sea lion measurements up here. And what do I need to remember to do with my line plot? Oh, I want each of you, whether you're at home or at school right now, I want you to draw this line with me, okay? I'm going to draw a nice straight line with an arrow on each end. Thumb in front of you to tell me when you've done that. Now, I'm going to draw to include my smallest number and my biggest number. What is the smallest or the shortest crayon on this table? Yes, which one is it? 2 is the smallest number that we have. Very good. What is the biggest number that we have, or the longest crayon that we have? What's the longest? 4. And what number comes between 2 and 4 that we can't leave out? We have to include every number in between. We need to include that 3. Now I want you to notice I tried to evenly space these as much as possible. So my 2 and my 3 are the same amount of space away from my 3 and my 4. That's something important to know about a line plot. We want the numbers to be evenly spaced. That's just something important to know about a line plot. I'm my smallest and I have my biggest. This time I'm not going to use some different colors. What am I going to put above my 2? Or what am I going to do first? Oh, you're right. I need to include my label down here. We're finding out how long my crayons are, and so my length is at the bottom, and it's in inches, just like our sea lion is. Or our sea lions were, I should say. Got to have my label down there. Now what am I going to do? Tell me when you think you can tell me. What am I going to do first? You see that crayon A is 3 inches long, so what am I going to do? I'm going to put an X above my 3. Just one for now, because my A is 3 inches long. What am I going to do next? What am I going to do? Oh, B, an X above my 2, because my B is 2 inches long. Did you notice I had to fix my X a little bit above my 3? I want my X above my 3 and my X above my 2 to be about the same size and about the same space away from my number. Sometimes we have to make sure that they're evenly spaced so that the data is easy to read in just a snap. What do I want to do next? Yes, I'm going to put an X above my 4 because my C is 4 inches long, my C crayon. And I'm going to put what? I'm going to put another X above my 2 because my D crayon is also 2 inches long. Now, when I look at this data, right, I just collected some data and I organized it in a way so I could read it in a snap. What do you notice about this information using our line plot? More crayons were 2 inches long than any other. Only one crayon was 3 inches long. Only one was 4. Were there any that were 1? Nope. How about 5? Nope. And why did I not include those numbers on my line plot? Because they weren't a part of this. They weren't the smallest number and they weren't the biggest number. If they were a number in between, I would include them, but because they are not, I'm not including them on my line plot. I'm finding my smallest measurement and my largest estimate, or my largest measurement, and those are my endpoints, and then I fit in all the ones in between. Now, second grade, before I send you off to do some data collection in your workbooks, I want to point out 2 things we're going to be focusing on this week. One is that I really want us to be spending some time having that private reasoning time, or what you might hear me call private think time. It's that time for us to be thinking quietly to ourselves so that we and the people that are around us are also able to think. So we want to be able to have time to think, and we want to be able to know what our ideas are. And we can't do that all the time if someone's talking over us or talking loud enough where we just can't focus. The other thing I want us to do is a lot of what we did up here. It's all about finding connections with these line plots, seeing how the information from our data, whether it's on a table or in a set of pictures or on a tally chart, however our data is collected, that we're able to find that data and make that connection to our line plot. For example, I use colors to start us off today because I wanted you to see that this is going to come right down here. 52 inches is going to come to this 52 right here. That our 49 is going to come here, our 50 will come here, and so on. We want to see the connection between those two pieces of information and how they're organized to help us make sure that we know where everything goes. Okay, so both of these are going to be a part of our learning this week. We're going to keep coming back to these, and I'll say them at the beginning of our time tomorrow to remind us of these before we get working and do more work with LinePlots. Now, you're off to do some more collecting of data and putting it in an organized way, and we'll do some more LinePlots tomorrow. Have a great day.